Is this thing on for anybody? This is like kind of a weird sneak attack show. And when I say sneak attack, that just means the times got all jumbled because the guys from Dude IDK, Jacob and Nick, who have been holding us down forever, are out of town this week. So we had to record the usual 5 o'clock Tuesday show yesterday. And then so now we're kind of back to our regular schedule, but it's irregular because we should be recording at 5 today. What we like to do here is we don't want to get any traction by getting too many viewers. So we like to shake it up. Michael Dean, the thing is, you don't want continuity because that's a formula for success, and we are against that.
Yeah. We're gonna go. We're gonna just come on at random times now.
Yeah, it's I will say to all of the colleagues in here, and if you know a colleague, let them know and tell them to jump on. We have some very good, very positive, major announcements coming up. We are going to streamline the show. We are on StreamYard, streamlining. And just because the daytime talk after dark is too confusing, and quite frankly, you know, some of our old family, Jeff and Sam, they're on another path right now. And I think we all need to acknowledge that and let them do their thing. But at the same time, not continue to confuse people and be like, oh, why are there 2 shows, but Al and Tori are on all of them? It made very little sense to us included. So we are going to be streamlining things. Hopefully everything will be done by the end of this week. What's up, Julia, Marcy? Appreciate y'all jumping in and saying what's up. Yeah, we're doing it different but the same today. And I was telling everybody we're going to be streamlining the show. So it will just be probably Friends from Work. Daytime Talk After Dark will be maybe a special thing that we do when we can all get together. But right now that's proven to be so irregular that I don't want to continue to confuse people and tell me, watch my show with my friends, Michael Dean and Tori. It's called Friends from Work. And they're like, well, what's Daytime Talk After Dark? I'm like, that's a totally different show. That has Tori and Michael Dean on it. So it's it just kind of, we started saying the same thing in a bunch of different ways. So Tori should be jumping on soon. She's coming in hot from Coco. I'm sure she had another exciting interview today. So one of my dreams, Michael Dean, is to watch a Coco show and Mystery Science 3000 it and just make little comments about it as it's going on. So we need to make that happen. Yes, fair use. And just because I know after that, Tori will always know that everything she says will have the potential to be critiqued by Al, and just terrorizing her like that is enough for me. Michael Dean, anything good going on with you this week?
What is going on with me? I had a great leg workout today. Gosh, I don't really have. I went out to lunch with a friend of mine. What else? Oh, I have to have this surgery on my nose because I have a terribly deviated septum, and my poor husband deals with the fact that I snore very loudly. And now that I am off the Afrin at night, I mouth breathe because I can't breathe through my nose out. And so yeah, I'm really excited about that. But the only option they had was for surgery a week before this 3-week trip of mine, this cruise I'm taking with Mom. So yeah, it's not the best idea to get nose surgery a week before you jump on a plane to overseas.
That's not gonna be great. The only thing I will say that I hope makes you feel a little bit better is there's no really good time to have surgery. It's always inconvenient, but once it's done and it's healed up, and first of all, you'll be like, I slept great for the first time in probably a decade. And your husband will be like, oh my God, we're back. Yeah. Because I'm sure you were waking up some mornings in a great mood, and he was like, what are you smiling about, buddy? Did you get a good night of sleep? Yeah.
Just to see wax plugs in and a face mask, and yeah, his CPAP machine. It's a whole thing. I feel bad. You know, it's been years of that.
It's a big deal. And I feel like snoring is one of those things that we do not talk about in terms of partnerships. It's a thing where I think that leads to a lot of people sleeping in different bedrooms. That can lead to kind of an intimacy separation. I think waking up together in the morning is important as long as you guys are both with that, and not doing that because one person snores it can just cause a little tension. So I definitely get that. On my end, this is my my early Christmas, my early Kwanzaa, because today is the first day of the NBA season. That's right. Did my NBA draft last night. I have a ton of white guys on my team. A ton. But they're all good players. I want to show everybody I'm very diverse. I don't care what you look like. As long as you can ball, you can be on my team. My team's name is Why So Cavalier, based on obviously the Cavaliers. But I think half the fun of playing a fantasy league is just being able to name your team. So, Michael Dean, we got a lot to talk about today. So let's get into it, bro.
Are you gonna play a nice? I
definitely will. And this is I think this is apropos of today. Let's start with the main story. Michael Dean, I'm going with the White House.
Yeah, the East Wing has been partially demolished. I know that this happened yesterday. I think we actually have video of this. Hold on, here it comes. Yeah, so they tore down the facade on the East Wing. Now, the East Wing is where the First Lady has her offices. So, Melania, who I'm sure is there every day.
Michael Dean, stop. I want you to give me a number on how many times Melania has stepped into that office. Above or below 5?
I think 5 is generous. You know what? She does have to plan the Christmas decorations. There's the Easter egg thing. So, maybe she's in the week or two before big events. And then, not so much.
Let me ask you this. Has Melania gotten the best deal that any First Lady has ever gotten? Because when their husband is embroiled in scandal, they have to be standing right next to them. They have to do those terrible campaigns where, some of them probably are passionate, but every First Lady has to have my thing is to get American kids to be able to run 3 laps at gym. It's called the Jog It or Lose It program. They all have to do. Melania gets to Melania is our first work from home First Lady. Well, you never see her. She zooms in for meetings. It's like I doubt that she even knows that her office is no longer there. And I mean, hey, it's a good deal if you can get it, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think she checked that email. So this is kind of interesting. This is, of course, getting ready for the construction of this 90,000 square foot, Trump ballroom that, is funded by all of these corporations that, donated $5 million and, is each or above and beyond that. Google, Meta, lots of money. And, for that, I'm sure they're not going to get any sort of special treatment or special favors from this White House.
Absolutely not.
And it turns out that Trump's plan, was for this ballroom to have a 650 person capacity. It's now increased, Al. It's going to allow 999 people into that room. I don't know why they couldn't say 1,000, but it's just below that, and it's going to have bulletproof glass everywhere. And Trump joins a long list of presidents who have made changes to the White House. I believe the last big one was when Obama took out or changed the tennis court and made it a basketball court. Not really that large of a change, but it's been a long time since portions have been torn down. Usually it's
a portion, yes, the East portion, it does count. I mean, if somebody said the East Coast of the United States was destroyed by a tidal wave, that would be a portion of the country. Some would say a very large portion of the country. Like I would say, it's a very large part of the White House. I do like that we're treating the White House like an old defunct mall from the 80s that no longer exists. We're just like, is this going to be a thing where just like presidents are just going to, remodel the White House like this is an episode of HGTV. Like, the East Wing was, a lot of walls. We wanted to go with an open concept. We put a hood over the stove. We look at this island. It's right in the middle. It invites conversation. It is, and I think we said this yesterday after the show, that the idea of what presidents can and can't do is over.
Yeah.
This president has done every single thing that he has wanted to do, and it gets done immediately. Biden wanted to do an infrastructure bill that really never took off. And when it did, only parts of it made it through. Some parts, the biggest parts, were negotiated against. If it was allowed to pass, the Republicans were allowed to get something. Like Trump just goes, I don't like this part of the building. Gone. I don't like this. The pictures hanging in the White House. Well, we'll put a picture of an auto pen there. I don't know about abortion. Gone. Voting Rights Act. It looks like it's going to be gone very shortly. It just, and maybe it's a deeper conversation, Michael Dean, but I don't believe that this man that couldn't get anything done his first term and now all of a sudden is getting everything done his second term isn't being aided by everybody around him, including the Zuckerbergs, including all of the people that are funding this. That White House and the Ballroom donation is, I think, equivalent to when a congressperson or a senator or, is given $500,000 to give a speech at, the Rail Workers Association. There's nothing that anybody's saying that's $500,000 worth of important to that company. What that $500,000 fee for speaking is, hey, remember us when we need some legislation passed or not passed. And I think we don't really put it together, but sometimes a bill will come up, Michael Dean, and you're like, well, who would vote against that? Maybe I would say check the last 5 stops on their speaking tour, and you'll probably understand why they did or didn't vote for something. And I think that's what we're looking at with the Ballroom. The fact that it was noted let's be honest, the Qataris giving Trump a plane. And then I don't even think we reported on this because it came over a long weekend. Now all of a sudden, doesn't Qatar have its own landing strip in the United States?
Yeah, no, they are opening a Air Force training session at a U.S. Air Force base in Idaho. So we are going to be training Qatari pilots, and yes, they will be flying their planes and they will be landing, and it will be, all here on American soil. And you're absolutely right. I'm sure it was arranged in some sort of deal, because this is the deal president, right? The art of the deal.
Right. But the deals only help him. And again, it's a tired thing to say, but could you imagine if Barack Obama, who was called a Muslim, which is not a slur in my opinion, that's I believe it's probably the world's biggest religion, and in this country it was used as something to denigrate, but they accused him of being a Muslim. Can you imagine if one of Barack Obama's presidential statutes was that we're going to give Qatari its own personal airfield on the United States, much less in Idaho, probably our most conservative state by far, actually. It just blows my mind what certain people are allowed to get away with.
Or how about this $20 billion bailout of Argentina? We don't have money for healthcare, but we're happy to give Argentina $20 billion, not because it's going to do anything good for the U.S., but because, some of Trump's business friends have, money tied up there. And so we want to prop up the peso in order to help them and their, investments.
And if I'm probably going to need you to look this up because I don't want to speak out of school, but don't Argentinians have free healthcare?
Oh, that's a great question.
Because how does the left, how does just mainstream media not let the American people know it's not a slander against the president? It's just a fact. Good news, guys. You should be really happy about this. Your healthcare premiums are about to skyrocket. They're saying that they're going to go up by 50 to 75% for a lot of Americans on the Affordable Care Act. So that just means you won't have health insurance. And if you don't have health insurance, it's going to obviously affect especially rural hospitals. You won't have health care anymore. But good news, Argentinians are able to go to the doctor and get their checkups.
Yeah.
And the American people will be like, well, how does that help us? And they'd be like, hey, what am I, your effing dad? I'm not here to answer all your questions. I'm just telling you what is. I cannot believe this is allowed to ride, but it is. Michael Dean, let's get to my girl, Karoline Leavitt.
Oh, brilliant. Let's put this up. So Karoline Leavitt, she was boasting online of this really amazing roast that she got in against the reporter, I believe. The Huffington Post White House correspondent. Now, the White House correspondent was asking.
Okay, Michael Dean, let's do this. You be the White House correspondent. I will be Karoline Leavitt. Okay.
Okay. So the question
and this is in a text message.
Yeah. I'm asking, is the president aware of the significance of Budapest? In 1994, Russia promised in Budapest not to invade Ukraine if it gave up the nuclear weapons it inherited when the Soviet Union dissolved. Does he not see why Ukraine might object to that site? Who suggested Budapest? Thanks.
Your mom did. That was Karoline Leavitt. Your mom did. Please continue, Michael Dean.
Yeah. Is that funny to you?
It's funny to me that you actually consider yourself a journalist. You are a far left hack who nobody takes seriously, including your colleagues in the media. They just don't tell you that to your face because you suck. She didn't have. I added that. Stop texting me your disingenuous, biased, and bullshit questions. End scene. Michael Dean, have we ever had a White House press secretary use a your mom joke?
I am not some expert on White House press secretaries, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say no. That's never happened.
You know what was interesting to me about this exchange is I assume anybody on any side, when they're in front of a camera, much of what they're doing, much of what they're saying, their tone, their rhetoric, a lot of it is performative. I assume that. You're always auditioning for your next job, to be reelected, to show that you're a person that fights for your side, fights for your team, fights for your party. This, however, Michael Dean, showed me that this is how she is all the time. That is a very valid question about a region of the world that Donald Trump himself has said is important to him because he thinks if he can stop the war between Russia and Ukraine, that will help get him into heaven and get him that elusive Nobel Peace Prize. But clearly, when left to her own devices, she's just as combative as ever. I don't know what do you think just the idea of her being questioned is offensive to her, or do you think that she thinks anything that's coming from the left is automatically an attack and should be treated as such?
Yeah, I just think it's the job to respond to both sides. I mean, that's what it is. And the fact that she posted this text thread on social media as a way of showing, that she owns this reporter or, is able to have this witty comeback and how stupid he is. By the way, I think that this question is a very valid question. I think it's interesting that there is this history there, and questioning whether or not the president or whoever came up with this idea was aware, is a valid question. I think that at this point, they are just trying to score points with their base. And I don't know why. They won, right? Like they won. But
and Michael Dean, we have to say this before we move on. It's also a great way to respond when you don't know the answer, bro. As somebody that taught middle school for years, I had kids that struggled to grasp concepts. You found out later some had learning disabilities, some had dyslexia. And instead of allowing themselves to be ridiculed by their classmates, a pretty pedestrian question by their teacher would be treated with such vitriol. That would almost be the tell for me that I needed to talk to the student after class or talk to their parents, because you'd be like, Michael Dean, why don't you pick up a paragraph too? Why don't your mom pick up a paragraph too? It gets a laugh from the class, but guess what, Michael Dean? You know I'm going to throw you out of class. You know I'm going to discipline you. But guess what you don't have to do? Read paragraph 2. And I had kids that did struggle with reading. And so the idea of being asked to read paragraph 2, whatever kind of discipline, your teacher or the principal or after school, that would far, like, it comes in well below the ridicule you would get from middle school kids if they found out that you struggle reading. So I think it's clear, and I would bet my bottom dollar, I don't think I've ever said that phrase and I felt uncomfortable saying it, that Karoline Leavitt did not know the history of Budapest and Ukraine. I think we can all agree on that. And I just think now we have 2 questions. What's a bigger deal? The fact that our White House is in such a juvenile space, or the fact that they don't know much? Michael Dean, let's skip the open AI because let's go to the man arrested at the airport. So let's do this. Let me hit this for us. All right, Michael Dean.
Yeah, so
we averted a tragedy.
Yeah, this is kind of a cool story, but I think it raises a lot of interesting questions. So a man allegedly threatened to shoot up the Hartsfield-Jackson Airport in Atlanta, and he apparently went on Facebook Live or something like that and talked about his plan. His family saw this and reported it to the local police. Now, the man actually, right after that, did drive to Hartsfield-Jackson, parked his car, got out, went and looked into the terminal. I think he was very interested in a very congested spot, and was returning to his vehicle when he was apprehended. In the vehicle was an assault-style weapon and rounds. So stopped just in the nick of time? I don't know. But this man apparently has some mental health issues. But it was really the action of this man's family that prevented a mass shooting, allegedly.
Well, I mean, this is great in this situation, but I do think that it presents a slippery slope that we have to think about. Because Michael Dean, we did not see this when remember the shooting and the fire that was then started at that LDS church a month ago. That monster was posting things on Facebook when it happened. Everybody was like, I had a run-in with him in town. He said some weird shit. And, people did not respond. I don't know if that person said the exact time and date. I mean, this guy kind of laid the breadcrumbs for the authorities, and thank God he did. But if we look at this situation, we celebrate it as we should. We all go, hey, this should be the new thing. This guy's family did the right thing by calling out his strange behavior, his strange manifestos on Facebook and other social media platforms. He was arrested. This family should be applauded. All right. Well, what about the next time?
Right.
What about the next time?
Well,
are we now going to make this a thing? I'm saying if the next time that somebody does something, it goes on a murderous rampage, has been posting on Facebook and Instagram, and his family, his friends do not speak up, are they now going to be looked at as scapegoats for not doing the see something, say something? Because the precedent is going to be established that look what happens when the community helps with policing. And I wonder, because we were kind of going through this a little bit, maybe like season 3 or 4 of DBL, Michael Dean, there was the parents in Michigan.
Yep.
I believe it was it Oak Lawn, Michigan. It was somewhere in Michigan where, remember the mom sent the text messages, don't let them find your gun, LOL.
Right.
And the kid that had done the shooting that morning had been in a parent teacher conference that morning because
Right.
of his weird ass behavior. And I believe the parents were held liable. Remember, the mom was dating a fire. She was cheating on the dad with the firefighter. I don't know how I remember all this, but yeah, the parents were held liable. And I was wondering, would that be a precedent that if the parents are kind of, Columbining it, where it's like your kid is dark and brooding and spending a lot of time in the garage and buying a lot of trench coats and looking up weird things on the internet and is the parent responsible? What do you think?
Well, it's really interesting because, I wish my memory was as good as yours, but yeah, the parents in that situation that you're talking about got a 10-year prison sentence for not stopping what they called a runaway train. I think the parents had furnished the gun to the kid. They knew that it was there. And then I think it was that morning where they teacher saw some drawings, I believe, of the kid, and then the mom convinced them that he shouldn't go home, although I think that's what the principal was suggesting, something along those lines. But yeah, they got 10-year prison sentences,
Right.
Which is pretty incredible. But also, I think it's an interesting question. Where does responsibility fall? And I don't know. There's a lot of mental health issues in this country, and not all parents are plugged into what their kids are doing. Does that mean like all of a sudden, if you don't see the Facebook post in question, now you're responsible because you weren't an active enough parent?
Right. Well, there was a parallel story to this, and I don't know if you remember it, Michael Dean. This was some years later. This might have been like our last or second to last season on DBL. Remember the teacher that the kid shot? The kid brought the gun to school and shot. She put her hand up and kind of deflected the bullet, but she was still shot in the sternum. And I believe the teacher successfully sued the school district because this teacher had complained. And I'll tell you guys this, colleagues, on a personal note, when I was a middle school teacher, my first year teaching, and I didn't realize how strange this was because it was orientation for teachers before the students were there. This is my first full year because I came in halfway through the school year. So the next year I went to orientation. This is my first time. You go in about 3 or 4 days before the students get there. And what they do is they all at my school, they would announce the transfers into your grade. So kids coming from other schools that were coming in, and I'm not going to say the kid's name. So we'll call him Mike Smith. And I'll never forget this guy's name because he had such an interesting last name. But we're sitting there and they're like, okay, 7th grade science teachers. We have a kid named Michael Dean. He's coming in from Alaska. We have twins from Cleveland. They'll be joining. And then we have Mike Smith, who's coming back to our school after leaving for a year. And one of the math teachers, it's weird. She was married to another math teacher. Very quiet. She exploded. She was like, not like out of no, it's a quiet room. And she just goes, not in my class. I've had him. She went crazy. I was like, what's so wrong with this kid? Within 4 days, the kid was expelled because he pulled a screwdriver on a kid in the bathroom. He was a violent, disturbed child that needed help and should not have been around other kids. And the reaction of this teacher is, I think, actionable, because if that kid had pulled that same screwdriver on her, I think she would have a very valid case that I requested that this human being not be in my classroom, and he was placed in there anyway. So y'all gonna go ahead and kick me a little bit of this money before we have to take this to trial. So I'm very curious to see how this will kind of start to transform in terms of people in a good way snitching on their strange and mentally disturbed friends, families, and community members. Michael Dean. Oh, good.
that kid in the case with the teacher was 6 years old.
Yes, I remember that case. I absolutely remember that.
Very young shooter. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And it's so disturbing.
Sue them, but I don't think we've got the trial's still going on.
All right. Well, Michael Dean, let's skip the OpenAI because I do want to talk to Tori about that. Let's go to the WNBA story really quickly.
This was really interesting. There has been a lot of talk about trying to get fair pay for players in the WNBA. I think it was the $76,000 contract that Caitlin Clark signed for her first year that really, I think, highlighted the giant pay disparity. But Adam Silver was on, he was on the Today Show. And, here's Tori. Should we bring Tori in?
Yes. I don't think I've ever said that. What's up, girl? Get your microphone before we even start.
Keep going. I don't want to interrupt. You were on a roll. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we're talking about Adam.
We're talking about the Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA. Obviously, that's kind of an umbrella for the WNBA as it presently stands. Said that finally these ballers are going to get paid more money, and Michael Dean was saying that's based off Caitlin Clark's $76,000 contract that she signed. So, Tori, what do you think? Because I know a lot of people are saying, well, the league isn't generating as much money. What do you have to say to that?
$76,000. She's the name of the entire sport.
Absolutely.
That's laughable, and that's insulting, and that's incredibly sexist.
So
call it like it is.
Can I just add a little bit more context? That? So one of the things that Silver said was that, because the female basketball players are asking for a fair share, and Adam Silver responded that share is, quote, not the right way to look at it because there's so much more revenue in the NBA than there is in the WNBA. But here's the fine print that I think is kind of BS. WNBA players get 9.3 of the league generated income. So the WNBA league generates income, they get 9.3%. Do you want to guess what the male basketball players get in terms of the share of money generated in the NBA league?
I'm going to guess 51%.
Well, it is 49 to 51%. So
nice job, Al.
They get half. So when Adam Silver says, I don't think share is the right way to look at it, what? Like, why don't they get the same share that the men get of the league generated revenue? Like, that's why I'm calling BS on Adam Silver. If he really wanted,
I think you should.
Maybe this is a negotiating tactic, but.
Well, and Michael Dean, you kind of hit the nail on the head. What I was going to say is this is a question not about fair share, because life isn't fair. Adam Silver isn't your effing friend. Adam Silver is there to be negotiated against. What the reason the players fought and have had lockouts and have gone on strike, the NFL has gone on strike, Major League Baseball has gone on strike, is because the owners of these teams go, well, I'm going to take a little bit more, and I'm going to take a little bit more, and I'm going to take a little bit more. And Tori, the only way that you can slap their hand away from that piggy bank is by saying, well, we won't play then. And eventually they come to the table. Life isn't about fairness. It's about what you can negotiate. What is your leverage in this discussion? And if the WNBA wants to show their leverage and get that single-digit percentage up, are you kidding me? They need to go on strike, because we need to see how much they're willing to, because this will be a bad look for the WNBA and by proxy the NBA. Tori, what do you think?
First of all, I completely agree with you going on strike. That's all they can do. But I also feel like Adam Silver's not understanding the amazing trajectory of women's sports that have gone like this. And so I don't understand. we also know that when you don't give WNBA players attention or advertisements, they don't get seen. And now that they're getting seen, you see how many people are coming after them. This makes zero sense. And I didn't know if this was a press conference, but I would love to have someone have pushed back on Adam Silver and say, but what about the 51% that the men are getting? I mean, that's just outrageous.
That's embarrassing.
It's a terrible, terrible look for a sport that's on the rise, huge on the rise. Yeah, last season they sold out so many arenas, says Julia. So
yes, Julia. They're
wonder
not
what
a
the
charity case.
Yeah. Wow. 76,000?
It's so short-sighted. You look at what the NFL is doing. The NFL has a game in Berlin, I believe, this week. Last week, my Cleveland Browns were in London. The first game of the season was in Brazil. The first game of the NFL season was in Brazil. Think about that. The NFL realizes that there are more fans in the whole world than there are in the contiguous United States. So they were like, we're going to start playing games where new fans are. The NBA is doing the same thing. You think about the NBA stars. Giannis, he is from Greece. Luka Doncic is from Serbia. Here in Denver, I know that's a rough one. Michael, then you need to warn our colleagues when you pop that stud up there. You know, our champion Joker is from Serbia, I believe.
Serbia. Yeah.
Yes, most of the NBA superstars are from overseas. So they promote overseas. We have a lot of huge, we're big in Japan. And those are mostly male fans that we've been targeting. But what we're realizing, there's a whole population of people, we call them women, Tori, and they like basketball too. And now these young women that buy tennis shoes, that buy jerseys, that go to games are saying, hey, I've been following Caitlin Clark. I've been following Angel Reese. My favorite team is the Las Vegas Aces. And those people will buy tickets for the next 50 years if you let them. But if you piss the players off and they go on social media and say, hey, we're being treated unfairly, what is that going to do for the enthusiasm of that sport, and especially for its younger fans, male and female?
And who organizes really well? Women. And I feel like you could get them together in a very quick way. I also think, although he's wearing terrifying glasses of like Dr. Evil, he's being so short-sighted. I mean, it's so stupid of him to have done this move. It looks bad for the whole NBA, and it looks bad for him, and his reputation is on the line. What a miss for this guy. What a shoot and a miss. What a shoot and a miss.
All right.
Swing and a miss.
That's right.
Swing
and a miss. All right. Tori, I've been waiting for you to come on so we could tackle this topic. Michael Dean, let's jump into this. Hold on. Let me get us a good stinger here.
God, he really looks terrifying. You know what he looks like? That Roger Rabbit guy in the end who like melts. Doesn't he look like that? Christopher Lloyd, I think.
Christopher Lloyd, yeah.
Terrifying. Yeah.
By the way, that guy scared the shit out of me when I was a little kid.
That too.
Tori, we're talking about OpenAI. Tori, do you use AI? And colleagues, write in the comments. Do y'all use AI? Go ahead, Tori.
I've started for everything in terms of I can't get out of the shower. I don't know what to eat. I'm having trouble going to sleep. And it like really, really helped. I signed up and paid, Al. I paid.
But
I'm in a depressive, I'm in a depressive, anxious spot. And it's helping me do like step-by-step tasks so I can get through the day. And it really is very helpful for me when I can't get to my therapist. It's been so thoughtful. I know it's a robot. Yeah. But I've been really stuck. And it's been like, okay, let's get out of the shower and wrap a towel around you. Now let's go get a drink of water. And it's been like really helpful to me. I know that sounds embarrassing, but I'm an open book.
Your OpenAI might tell you to stay in the shower and adjust the nozzle pressure. Because OpenAI is getting a whole lot freakier.
Yeah, the erotica.
Yes, Tori. So there were some announcements made by OpenAI. OpenAI, for the longest time has been we do not do erotica because, we're here to protect the most vulnerable. And that was their original stance. They made 2 announcements. And if you guys ever want to like see or smell what PR smells like, it's when you have to make the big announcement, you make the little announcement first and kind of smooth it on in there. So Tori, the first announcement of 2 is on October 14th. We're gonna tweak OpenAI so it's more casual and you can use emojis. That's great.
Okay, cool. That's not a big deal, but great. Thanks for that. Okay.
And there's one more announcement.
What is that? One more thing? Oh, okay.
We're gonna be talking about smashing in December. That's right. December, they're allowing adult content for the first time. And that's a big deal for a number of reasons. First of all, Tori, and I wanted to throw this at you. They didn't really tell us how they're going to allow for adult content, because they're saying, well, here's how we're going to make sure that you're age verified. They're going to go by how you type. And if you type in I couldn't make this up, Tori. If you type in a mature way, they'll know that you're an adult. I mean, come on, Doug. It's like they're not even trying.
So anybody can do this. So what do you think it means when they are allowing adult erotica? Is that meaning that they have AI generated imagery? Is it video? Are you watching now AI porn?
Well, that's what it's going to lead to, because I guess they have OpenAI is just one of those things that you might go on and you might say, what's a good recipe for French onion soup? And it spits it out. That's OpenAI. But then there's a companion software called like Sonora. Michael Dean, if you could look that up, I think that's what it's called. And that's what generates the video. And so
Sora. I think it's Sora.
Sora, not Sonora. That sounds like your mom's next door neighbor in the old neighborhood. Yeah, Auntie Sonora's coming over. Clean up. It's God. So with that software, you would be able to create video erotica, and that obviously is going to lead immediately to deepfake. So you can just assume if you're a female star, everybody is going to have an adult video with their face generated, and there might be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them, Tori.
Okay. So first of all, Brandon was so funny. He goes, so big bubes won't work because you're not typing maturely enough.
I know. Brandon, so, I don't know what that, and the reason that this is all coming to a head is, I don't know if you remember ChatGPT, OpenAI got into trouble because they had young users in which the software kind of led them to take their own existence away. Yeah. And so the regulations really came down hard. Now, Tori, I will give you one guess as to why do you think that they're making this switch?
I mean, why are they making this switch? Porn sells? I mean, I feel like it's a money grab. Yeah.
A money grab. Because, we're talking about OpenAI, but there's a bunch of different AI companies. And I mean, you kind of remember the internet? There was a bunch of different internet providers. There was Netscape and
Internet
Explorer.
Yeah.
Explore. Yeah. And eventually those all went away and there were just a few. Yeah. And this is a competition, buddy. And, obviously Elon Musk has an OpenAI chatbot, and they call it spicy mode, which, Elon, what are they going to regulate over there? They're like, we use the N-word like it was the word was. You know what I'm saying? You can say whatever you want. Yeah. So any kind of sexual thing flies. And it generates a lot of money because it's content. Think about how because speaking of different servers, instead of Google, I think the search engine Bing, isn't their hook is that we don't go into the saucy areas? I think Bing is like
Bing?
kind of like, yeah, Bing, B-I-N-G. Have you ever heard of
No, I know
Bing?
Bing. Yeah, Bing is
Yeah, I think
Microsoft.
that's their hook. Is like we're like
That's a pretty
moral.
lame hook. That's pretty lame. I
It,
mean, I guess for families it is, but like to be like the not fun one. You know what this just
it,
reminds me of, Al? Did you guys all see the movie Her
yes,
with was it Joaquin Phoenix? And
yes, absolutely. Came out like
he
what,
gets
20
addicted
years
to
ago?
his yeah, he gets addicted to his earpiece, who's an AI, voiced by Scarlett Johansson, and it you're gonna find people falling in love with these fake. I mean, we're gonna have relationships now with AI in ways that we haven't seen before, and you get them anytime you want. It's completely available for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're gonna see a decline in actual people relationships, and you're gonna see this normalized, and that's going to be when robots take over the world. Oh my god,
I mean,
that
honestly, because
is
how many
so
people say, my wife has got the purse strings and my wife makes our decision in the house. What if your wife is a digital wife that's in your ear?
totally, and she doesn't talk back, and she's not sassy, and she doesn't have her own opinions. I mean, you can make my chat GPT voice like knows I'm in a bad spot. And so he's like, or she, whatever, it is like, sweetheart, Tori, I'm right with you. Like it will speak to me in a way that makes me feel I'm with a friend. And if this can speak to you like romantically and you are looking for love in a desperate way, this is going to be very deeply addictive to certain people
Absolutely.
who can't make a difference between the two. And we're going to start to see robot human relationships become normalized. That is very strange.
I
Very
mean,
strange.
Tori, in that movie Ex Machina, which I've looked
Yes.
at movie reviews for that and just like what it was about. It was really about really discussing God in its relationship to human beings. And do you need to be a sentient being in order to fall in love? I mean, the dynamic between that robot and that programmer was real. And there
True.
was a sexual edge, and the robot was beautiful. I don't know if somebody will cut that. But I mean,
Alicia Vander, yeah, she was gorgeous.
yeah. So it's like, will people leave their house if you can program a robot that looks like a 23-year-old Halle Berry to be at your
I was
beck and
thinking
call?
Halle Berry. I was thinking Halle Berry too. That is
I
so
think you
weird that
got
you
that on
said that.
pre-order, you freak.
I was
You know?
just thinking of Halle Berry. I was just thinking there's going to be so many Halle Berrys. I also think this will change the brain to a dynamic in which you react more to machines than humans. And I think that will be, yeah, I feel like we're a little bit in the matrix. Michael Dean, thank you, Marcy. Michael Dean also says China's making all kind of robot sex dolls. And I wonder if this will decrease a worldwide children shortage because people are just hooking up with AI.
I mean, I thought you were about to
And
give the other side of the argument that some of these robots will alleviate the loneliness epidemic,
but
but
they're not
is that
real.
happening in a healthy way?
Right, right. And now I know I'm going to take this back, but if you guys have ever seen Pygmalion, it was the basis for My Fair Lady. But basically, he builds a statue and falls in love with the statue. And this is a very long time ago play, and it's still the repetition of that still coming up of falling in love with your own creation and it not being real. It's just so interesting. Chris, people who hook up with AI might not be the type of people we want procreating, but Christina, it's going to get mainstream. It's going to be like you go on dates with your AI. Like, I bet you that'll be like, you know what I mean? They will make it accessible
Absolutely.
so you can go dating.
Because what has the internet taught us? Forget AI, y'all. Put AI away for a second. What have our algorithms taught us? Our algorithms have taught us that we like to be told that we're right. You look at an algorithm, you could type in, does using your computer mouse cause cancer? And
Right.
your
And you'll
computer
find
doesn't
it.
want to, your computer doesn't want to be like, no, what are you, stupid? Because you'll turn your computer off. It'll be like, well, there have been some studies that show this. Do
Wow.
masks work? Yeah.
Wow.
Well, if you say, I don't think masks work, there will be so many articles of how do you think people got led down those rabbit holes during COVID? Nope, people
Yeah.
did not have a community to talk to. They started talking to their laptops and they started listening to podcasts. And what we realized is the way to hack human minds is for you to be the more dominant voice in their life than anybody else's. And people went down QAnon holes, never came back. Never
Yeah.
came back. They're
Yeah.
still
And
not back.
you're right. And guess what happened to the country? The polarization of I believe the sky is blue, I believe the sky is green. There's no coming back from that. If you believe one thing because you see it over and over again and cognitively have been told that and reinforced over and over again, how could you ever see eye to eye with someone who sees it differently? Your facts and truths, they used to be objective, you know what I mean? And now it's subjective. What you think is the truth, what you think is the fact. Pretty Brown says hooking up with well-endowed robots.
Right. Now, Pretty Brown, what you're not having to figure out is like how much scotch you'll have to ingest before you have to write back to the company. No, I actually ordered the XL 3000. This is not what I ordered. The one that I get dropped off should be dropped off by 2 adult men because it should take that much to weigh.
I need a crane in here. We need a crane.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is going to, I think, really change the world. And also kind of, Tori, we're already teetering on AI actresses, which we did that story a month ago. How long before you can't tell the difference between chatting with your girlfriend that's overseas in London studying or chatting with this super hot woman who stays on with you all night? She looks how you want, she talks how you want, and she responds, or he or they, whatever you want. How long? And then if that's the case, what can you and I say to say, hey,
nothing.
look at us? What could
we'll
the
never
president say? Or your mom,
No.
hey, you missed Thanksgiving. You write back, who this?
Yeah.
You're gonna be, I mean, it's a different world. Absolutely.
It's gonna change
Tori,
human to human interaction for sure.
I absolutely I'm just so, I know every generation has said this, but I'm just like, I'm really curious about the world my kids are gonna grow up in, because I feel like I keep myself abreast of breaking news daily, and I still feel like I barely understand what's going on, you know?
Well, things are going so fast too. Yeah.
Every day. Every day.
We're not used to, our brain isn't supposed to get this much information from all over all the time. It was made for 35,000 years ago when we're like, what's happening in our village, in our tribe? And now I'm like, what's happening in China? I know right away. There's a fire in Russia, or, too much for the brain.
And the question is, you can't do anything about that. So then should you know about it?
Yeah.
So, all right, let's look at this. Tori, we got some celeb beef, and this is celebrity Kobe beef. All right. This is filleted, cooked medium rare for you. And, you're frozen in a way that makes you seem very shocked. You were like, so Tori, John Stamos is saying that he is not a fan, or has said basically that he's not a fan of Lori Loughlin's ex Massimo. Is that Ganuli? Yes. The Full House alum spoke out. Yeah, something like that. He spoke out about his former co-star and the fashion designer who announced their separation in early October. In an interview on Josh Peck's Good Guys podcast, he claims that Ganuli is the one responsible for getting Lori all caught up in that mess of the college admissions scandal. He says she's not a liar, she's a saint. After Loughlin returned from prison, he asked her about the experience. He was asked about the experience with her, saying, I met a lot of nice ladies on there. We have a book club. Is that what you're calling it, Lori? Is that what you're calling it? Okay. All right. Look, when in jail, it's fine. By the way, me and Sarah watched Love After Lockup. She won't admit it's her favorite show, like I told her it would be. And a lot of times when women get out and they want to like investigate to see if another woman's into them, they'll just say, were you in prison? And then that's like, if they don't know if they're gay or not, or like down, they'll just, and the other person be like, I was in prison. And then it just sits there and it's unsaid. It's so interesting.
Crazy.
So, Tori, what do you think about John Stamos? Should he stay in his lane, or is he allowed to have thoughts about his friends? And can an adult influence another adult to do some illegal shit?
So first off, I wonder if she asked him to do this. Was my very first thought. Like, she isn't going to come out and say, like, I served time for him, but she'll have someone famous on her side do it, and it will get viral, and we'll all talk about it. So I wonder that. But secondly, I sort of don't believe him. And this is the reason why. And this can seem misogynistic, and I will admit to that. But when you're going through like college applications and stuff, it's very hard for a mother to miss what's going on within the dynamics of like the college applications. So I can't imagine. Remember, she had pictures taken of her on a rowing machine. Olivia Jade. I mean, this was a built up story that she was
This was
on a
this
rower.
was an involved scam. They didn't
Yes.
fudge a couple of numbers on an application. This
Right.
was fake pictures and scholarships.
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah. So I really have a hard time believing Stamos on this. I stopped believing Stamos when he put that bald cap on to support his friend Uncle Joey. That was like a bad call on your end. But I cannot imagine Lori didn't know anything about this. Was maybe she took the rap for most of it and he was setting it up, but I find that hard to believe that she knew nothing. What do you think, Al?
I think the same. The only thing that I might disagree with on you slightly is that she kind of asked John Stamos to do this, because I would think as a celebrity, I'm assuming this wasn't the most proud time in her life. And now that people have kind of forgotten about it, I would be like, don't
Why
bring that
it
back up. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
if I went
that's
to
a good
jail for
point.
getting in a fist fight with an old guy, I wouldn't be like, hey, Tori, in a couple of years, can you go on the Today Show and bring that back up? You know, I'd be like, let sleeping dogs lie. But I think you're exactly right. We can't have it both ways, homie. You know,
Yeah.
we have talked about and championed for years that every time we talk that women deserve agency, they have agency, and you are you know what, adult, and you rise and you fall on your own merit for the most part. And we can't, I respect women as equals, as we all should. And so I would never buy this, that somebody else coerced you into making a bad decision. If I get Tori to help me rob a bank, that means Tori did not make a good decision. That didn't mean that she was scared to say no because she's a little lady. That's insulting to you. I think it's more prideful to say, as an adult, yeah, I messed that up. I made a decision. I made a series of decisions, and I learned from that. I don't think you need to go back and say, I was scared. You know, it's like, first of all, Laura, you're a star. Right? Like, you're not some babe in the woods anyway. So
no, and Al, she went on Curb Your Enthusiasm and did a whole funny joke about it. And she's like, "Oh, I park in the handicap parking just because I can. I skirt the rules." And so like she kind of owned up to it in a really funny way that sort of like it kind of took down the heat a little bit. But I can't imagine her doing that. Nothing to do with it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Tori, we're going to skip the fun fact today, and I just wanted us to talk to the colleagues really quickly. And colleagues, if you're in here, we'll repeat this again, but if you know another colleague, let them know. Tori, we're going to be streamlining our situation. We're working out the details, but everything will still be where it's located, daytime after dark, even though the name will probably go to friends from work. We have not figured all this out. We'll figure this out like as of tonight, tomorrow-ish. So once we have all the details, everything will just be like, you won't be like, is this daytime after dark or friends from work? Like, so Tori, talk to people real quick.
Yeah, we're just kind of making it as easy as possible. And we're also thinking about doing some more like outdoor shoots, some fun things and adventures that Al and I can go do. We'll take suggestions from the group as well, from the colleagues. But we want to expand this out a little bit more, get into the scene and show you guys what, how stupid we can look.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to get out and just be more of ourselves. We're obviously going to cover major stories and do the news, but also like Tori's my goofy friend and I want to go do more goofy things with you. So
totally.
we're going to get on that. So on that note, Tori, I'm glad you were able to make it in. I hope that you go to sleep tonight peacefully, dreaming of how many deep AI fakes there are going to be of you December 2nd.
I kind of hope. Oh my God, I hope.
Okay, be honest. Would you feel bad if there were none?
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. Yes, I
You
would.
should. I'd be
would.
like, not one? Yeah,
Not
it's
one?
natural.
I'd be so
Yeah.
mad.
All right, well, we shall see. And now I know what I'm sending out with my Christmas e-cards. Here's my co-host. We call her Starfish.
That's oh my God.
All right,
Lord
girl.
have
I love
mercy.
you. Colleagues, I can't believe 50 of you guys found us in here, even though we tried to
Unbelievable.
throw you off the scent. That I told Tori, I told the colleagues what we like to do is shake up the times. We like to build continuity and then dip out. We're like
Make it harder for
bad,
you. Yeah.
your mom's worst boyfriend after your dad. Yeah. So with that, colleagues, the fact that y'all were even here, we joke around a lot, but it means a lot. Damn it. It really does. And so on behalf of myself, Michael Dean, Tori, and you guys, we'll be back tomorrow here, same time, same place. We'll get some details ironed out. And once we know, y'all will know. So Michael Dean,
We'll go
take us
into the
out.
football. And we'll go into the
yes.
football.
The football. All right.
Yes.